Welcome to Integrative Inquiry Orientation. This course is also known as Mindful Compassion Leadership.
Let's just invite a gentle attention to the seat in the chair, the feet on the floor, noticing the back, whether it's upright, alert, relaxed. Noticing where the hands are placed. You're noticing them resting on a desk, your lap, or perhaps just dangling in the air. And then inviting a softening of the eyes. So you can gaze at this tree, or you can look down at something that's not moving, so it's as if you're looking but not really seeing. You can even invite the eyes to close. Just a grounding into this moment in time, just sensing the whole weight of the body in the chair. And then maybe even perhaps bringing a hand to the belly, noticing the inhale and the exhale. And you're likely noticing mind wandering, noticing other sounds, other bodily sensations. And when you notice this, see if you can just invite that gentle attention back into the chair. Noticing the body in the chair. And then inviting a gentle attention into listening to this sound. Seeing if you can notice when the sound begins and when the sound ends. And one more time, the sound, seeing if you can notice when it begins and when it ends. So you are here. You have arrived here in this moment, in this chair, for this video, this welcome orientation video. You are here. You meant to be here. You arrived here, and I am grateful. So moving from this grounding space, this arriving, a listening, tuning into the senses, let's take a moment and just ask a simple question. What do you notice as I simply ask you, what are the sources of your stress? What are the sources of your stress, and what can you do about those sources? What are your sources? What can you do about those sources? Just noticing. Yeah, you probably noticed that some of your sources of your stress are the unknown, not knowing the future. And maybe there are thoughts about the past or thoughts about the future, worries about the future. Maybe there was an experience that you had that was particularly stressful. So it was actually noticing that experience is stressful. And maybe there's some emotions that you experience stress around. Perhaps it's people's sadness or anger, or sometimes people get stressed with a lot of excitement. But as you notice whatever it is that you're noticing that creates stress for you, what can you do about those sources of stress? Yeah, most of the time we can do nothing. We can't control what's happening. We can't control what's not known. We can't control thoughts that arise. They just arise. We can't control emotions that arise. They just arise. And lots of the times we can't control what's happening, what our experience is, or we can't control the experience that happens to others. So the invitation is, as we notice these stressors, can offer a gentle kindness to them. You're not the only one experiencing stress in the world. You're not likely the only one who's experienced this stress at this sort. And you're not the only one who may feel a little helpless about not being able to do anything about it. So offering a gentle kindness to that experience, then anchoring the body in the chair or standing, wherever you might be, just really sensing the feet on the floor, the seat in the chair, the weight of the body being supported by the chair or the ground. And then taking a gentle hand, gently placing it to the belly, and inviting in a breathing in, just noticing the rise and fall of the belly as you breathe in and breathe out, or placing a hand to the chest even, breathing in, breathing out. Maybe even a hand in front of the mouth, just noticing the inhale and exhale. Just taking a moment to bring a full, gentle, curious attention to what it's like to breathe. Whenever you notice a stressor, anchoring the body, bringing a gentle attention to the breath, and then asking yourself, what do you notice? Perhaps you notice something new, something there that wasn't there before. Albert Einstein has said, we can't solve problems with the same kind of thinking that created them. And as we investigated the opportunity to engage in this commitment, 15 weeks, 1.5 hours a week together, you probably noticed in the Theory U that this whole presencing to life experiences, all it is and all it isn't, will allow us to actually access some creativity, some new possibility. So rather than pushing it away, which may be what we've been trying before, we're actually inviting it in, but skillfully inviting it in. And when we do this, what we can do is begin to retrain our neurology. So neuroplasticity is probably a word you've heard before. What does it mean? Well, yes, it basically means that certain parts of our brain can change. So this is my brain, in case you're wondering if I have one. This is it in a functional magnetic resonance imaging system with some contrasts lighting up. This is a particular study that I was participating in. But the point here is that really what we pay attention to repeatedly, over and over again, for a specific amount of time, will change certain structures and therefore functions of our brain. Let me say this again. What you pay attention to over time, repeatedly over time, will change specific structures and therefore functions of your brain. When I discovered this, I decided it was worth paying attention to what I pay attention to. And so that's what we'll be doing in this course, is we'll be cultivating the neurology that allows us to notice what we're paying attention to and to shift that attention on demand with a lot of gentleness and kindness, like a little effortlessness, really. And the reason that we want to do that is because when there are certain portions of our brain that can change, and those functions, those structural areas that can change, like the amygdala, hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, insula, these particular parts of our brain have a lot to do with learning and development. Amygdala, you might have heard, is emotional center of the brain. It's often referenced when we think of the fight, flight, freeze, or fornicate part of the brain, often ignited in times of stress or fear. Hippocampus is known for memory. It plays a role in the storage and recall of memory and also in geospatial awareness and relationships. The prefrontal medial frontal cortex, those are the parts of our brains that play a role in analytical reasoning, critical thinking, prioritizing of decisions and decision making. And the insula pulls in some body awareness. That's about all we can chat about for now. But all of these play a role in learning and development, and they're all malleable based on where we are placing our attention. Now, How do we do this? How do we cultivate an awareness of tension, an awareness of emotions, awareness of where we're being kind, and do this with an attitude of playful curiosity? This is called mindfulness. It's a practice of paying attention to what we're experiencing right here, right now. And it's what we're experiencing in the interiority of the leadership experience to inner sensations, thoughts, bodily sensations, emotions, and also to what's happening in the external environment, so that we're starting to cultivate an awareness of a relationship. This happens, then this might happen. This happens, this might happen. And we're doing this with a lot of playful curiosity and kindness toward this experience of being human. It's hard to be human, so we want to offer a lot of kindness to what we're experiencing. A lot of playful curiosity. And when we practice this gentle paying attention, it cultivates an awareness that begins to show us where we're on autopilot in our life. And instead of being on autopilot, then we're tuning up a gentle, kind awareness so that we can become more aware of all of the options that we have. Perhaps options that we may not have been aware that we had just a moment before. And this will empower us to make conscious choices, feeling more empowered for our lives, more control even when we're not in control. There are lots of ways that we train attention and emotional awareness. You engage in another practice, some body awareness of just noticing the body in the chair, some breath awareness. There's also journaling activities, a pen to paper that I'll invite you into. Literally a pencil to paper activates some neurology, and we'll talk about that. We'll invite you into becoming more aware of emotions and where they may begin in the body, and there'll be particular practices that we use. This looks like sleeping in the bottom left-hand corner, but it's actually a body scan where I'll invite you into just becoming aware of sensations in the body. Gentle kindness, movement, breath with movement, Tai Chi, yoga, walking, running, all sorts of movement that we can bring a focused awareness of breath and a focused awareness to movement. And of course, just experiences in nature, which we won't have an opportunity to experience in this concept of this course. But these are just a few of the many practices, compassion practices that we'll be diving into as well. And we'll ask you to bring in that gentle curiosity. So think of it as you're the researcher, and this inner experience, the body, this inner experience, thoughts, sensations, all of this stuff, that is the experiment. So we're not trying to prove anything. We're not trying to shift anything. It's just an invitation to gently observe what's happening, okay? So this course will be organized into content and exercises. These webinars, hopefully they'll stay in the 20-minute range. This one might go a little bit over, but they'll stay in the 20-minute range is my intention. So we'll have content, and then in our in-class time, in the time that we're together in our 1 hour a week, we'll be practicing these exercises. And you'll be invited to explore those exercises outside of class. There's some structure to this course. There's a pre and post assessment packet, but hopefully you've already completed the pre-assessment packet. If not, please stop this video right now and complete it. It's in a Qualtrics survey link for you. It's also in the Blackboard for you to complete. Then there'll be, of course, this access to weekly online lectures. Those are loaded in your learning management system, your Blackboard system, or your Moodle system, depending on how you're accessing this course. And then there'll be guided practices. So there's a whole section in your learning management system that has guided practice. Then we'll have these weekly face-to-face 60-minute meetings to practice. This is all the structured part. And you'll also be invited to respond to some online journal prompts. You can do that with pen and paper. You can upload those if you want to, or you can keep them for your private journey. It's up to you. And there'll be some discussion board postings that I'll be inviting you to. The unstructured part, these are all by invitation. I'll be inviting you to connect with a buddy. There are instructions on how to do that on the learning management system, how to connect with a buddy. And what I'll be asking you to do each week informally, some time with your buddy, just to check in, see how things are going. There are also other exercises I'll be inviting you into practicing each weekly out of class. That's optional, of course, but I'm hoping to play with them, and those are guided meditations, or guided practices. I'll be sometimes use the word meditation for exercises. I could also be using contemplation. I could also be using activities, so I might use those interchangeably. And you're invited to post questions or comments anytime you'd like to about the content or the exercises. Again, responding to discussion boards if you see some colleagues posting. I'll also be sending you weekly emails, and I'll ask you to read those. They'll be giving you an update about what's to come, maybe some things to place your intention so that you can place your attention on. We'll talk more about that next week. And if you need some any sort of support, please feel free to email me directly. If you need tech support with the learning management system, please email the tech people. I won't be able to help you with the tech support, sorry. And so the hope of engaging in these 15 weeks together is that we'll achieve some learning and development outcomes, and those are loaded also in your learning management system, so you can find out more about that. Now, in a moment, I'll be asking you, when we complete this webinar, I'll be asking you to get online and begin to talk about how we want to co-create this space for being together. When we work a lot, we talk a lot about the work we want to accomplish. So we talk a lot about deliverables and products, but we don't necessarily talk about how we want to be in the space that we're working together. So we're going to practice this in this class, the actual guidelines that we want to co-create together as a class for how we want to be in this space of doing this inquiry work of the inner experience as it relates to the outer experience. And as we engage in that dialogue, I have some guidelines I'd like to share with you. And you can decide whether you want to we all adopt these or we adopt a different set. But these are some things I'm inviting you to consider for our guidelines for how we're going to be together in this work that we're doing in this class. And what is that we all commit to engaging, to doing the work the best that we can do in the moment that we are in. Not every moment is going to be your best moment. We're human. Life is happening to us. We are experiencing life as we engage. And so some days we might not feel as well, some days we may be more tired, some days we may be less tired. Our ability to commit will vary, but what we're inviting in is that there's still that commitment to engage, to do the work in the best way that you're able to do so. We also invite confidentiality. What the lessons that you're discovering are yours to share in the class and outside the class. But what someone else is experiencing when they use their I language, that's not yours to share, ever. You must always ask permission, even if it's shared in a buddy session and you want to bring it into class because it was so profound for you, you really need to ask permission of your buddy to share that. So only what you're experiencing is yours to share. What somebody else is experiencing and shares is not yours to share. You can learn from it, but it's not yours to take outside of the classroom. So confidentiality, really honoring the reverence of each other's experience and holding it with reverence, knowing that it may be a different experience than yours. Playful curiosity, just really that includes observing as objectively noticing and with an attitude of gratitude. It's like, wow, we get to observe, we get to actually engage in this. It's such a privilege to be able to reflect and engage in curiosity. It really is a privilege to do that, become curious. It always doesn't happen when we're in survival mode. Oftentimes we're just trying to survive. So bring that attitude of gratitude to this playful curiosity. And engaging with a lot of compassion and kindness. And we'll be talking about more what that means in this class. Just avoiding attachment to the yum or yuck, sort of immediate no, or immediate yes. So just playing a lot with holding that. And I like to think about holding that, putting that judgment into a big hot air balloon, and with a long string, and just letting it float up to the ceiling. You can take it back when you're done with class if you'd like, but during the time that we're practicing in this space of learning and discovery, just seeing if you can let that judgment go. We're avoiding fixing. There's nothing to fix about you or another human being that you're engaged in this class with. There's nothing to fix, so we're avoiding fixing. There's also no doing it right. There's just, again, this playful curiosity. I'll provide some guidance. It may be different experience for each one of you, and that will be true for you. So instead of striving to look a particular way or get it right, just invite in sort of a gentle settling into the practices and just noticing. And I also like to think of a butterfly just skirting around and then resting gently on a flower. That gentleness of just settling into, let me just try this out, see where it takes me. Like sometimes the wind will move a flower and the butterfly will just move with it. So let's just see if we can see what happens. Yeah, and again, using that I language. When you speak from like my experience is this, it empowers everyone else to speak to their experience, particularly if it might be something different than what you're experiencing. So I'll really coach you away from using, when we, I'm like, no, we know what is your experience. Speak from your individual experience. Don't be selfish, but I really need to know what you are experiencing. So inviting you to use that I language. And again, in the spirit of compassion, we'll just agree that everyone, including you, is doing the best you can do with what you have from where you are. Knowing that each moment has a different capacity for internal resources and external resources, and that we all don't always have the same in every moment. So we'll just agree that we're all doing the best we can with what we have from where we are, noticing that effort might look different, engagement might look different, and that's okay. Only you will know if you are committing. The other favorite one I'd like to do is, as we're cultivating awareness, you can't get awareness wrong. You may get it late, it might be like a week later, it'll be like, oh shoot, that was what that person was trying to tell me, or darn, I wish I wouldn't have done this or said that. Whenever awareness dawns on you, I invite you to just remember the next moment is a new moment and a new opportunity for a new choice. As soon as awareness lands, the next moment is a new moment, a new opportunity for a new choice. So keep believing in that. And again, ask questions, share comments, and please reach out to me at any time that you have questions or comments or something isn't working for you, you have different requests or different needs, okay? All right. So as we move to the close of this long orientation, I just want to remind you that while these practices are designed to change the brain, only you can change your brain. I can't do it for you. So that means that you decide in every moment where to place your attention, but only if you're aware of where your attention rests. So if your attention is resting on ruminating in the past and beating yourself up for something, you can only shift your attention if you become aware that you're ruminating. Similarly, if you've taken yourself out of enjoying the present moment, maybe perhaps a beautiful drink of fresh water, because you're worrying about something in the future, only you can bring your attention back to enjoying that lovely glass of fresh water, but only if you're aware of where your attention rests. Only you can change your brain. And your engagement is required to change your brain. So I think this little image, because I think about it as lifting weights. You can watch all these webinars and not do a thing, but it's like reading a book on weightlifting and not lifting a single weight, what happens to your muscles? Your muscles don't grow from reading a book on weightlifting. Similarly, your brain won't change from learning about how to do it. You actually have to engage in these exercises daily, even just bringing your full, gentle, kind attention to one inhale and one exhale. So eventually these exercises, they'll become integrated into your daily routine, just like any of the other routines, but only if you choose and only if you engage. It's up to you. So here's the point where I'll be inviting you also after this webinar to connect with a buddy. There are directions on how to do that in your learning management system, but basically in your buddy conversations, you'll be connecting with each other informally each week and just taking turns, practicing mindful listening, bringing your full attention to listening, like we listened to the bell at the beginning of this class. And you'll basically be sharing just how am I doing with integrating and applying these practices into my life, what am I noticing, and the other person will listen. And then you'll switch, the other person will share and this person will listen. And then you'll have just a conversation about how did that conversation go. And everything, again, is intended to be shared with confidentiality. And the point of the buddies is just to get a different perspective about the practices and how you're experiencing them. But remember, you're not fixing each other. There's nothing to fix about each other. You're just sharing your experience and you're listening, and then you're talking about how that conversation went. Okay, wonderful. All right. So anytime you have questions or comments, you're welcome to post them to the discussion board on your learning management system, either Blackboard or Moodle, or you're welcome to email me directly, and my contact information is in the learning management system. Okay, so before our class next week, this would be next week, before our first class next week, there'll be another video for you to watch. But I also want to invite you to get a buddy and just talk about what it might be to engage in these practices. Check out, get really familiar with your learning management system, Blackboard or Moodle, get really familiar. Put your desires for co-creating the container for the course in the discussion board. Post any questions or insights you have. Get familiar with the guided audio practice section. Those will be audios that you'll be practicing out of class if you'd like to do that. And there's also an informal practice section of your course with lots of resources that you might find useful. And then just begin to practice noticing where you're placing your attention. And just taking one focused breath at a time to anchor yourself, or just anchoring yourself in the chair or standing. And there's a 2-minute journal assignment in the journal section of your course site as well that you're invited. And there's also an opportunity every week to reflect on a weekly poem or some quotes. That's just your invitation as well. All right, that's it. I look forward to seeing you in class and also in the next video. Thank you so much.